famous boric acid technique that I taught you all.
Mm-hmm.
And we got rid of most of the roaches. But we, after a couple of months there, we invited our parents down for their first dinner in our apartment to see how we're living. And as we're sitting at the table, a roach crawls on the table.
Ew.
And we knocked it out. Then Lala had cooked this chicken, and I carved the chicken. What falls out from the cavity is the wrapped innards. She didn't realize.
I didn't know that you had to empty out the chicken.
But you did that also at a Thanksgiving. And she left a big bag of goodies in it.
But
This is the big fun of grandma guy.
I was a slow learner.
no, a lot of people have made that mistake.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
I have never made that mistake.
How many times have
I
you
know
cooked
I
chicken?
made that mistake.
I mean,
Probably like
every time he has
300 times.
No,
Fine.
That was the only time they came
If Paul
down to
was to
Edgewood.
make a chicken, he might make that mistake too.
I don't think so.
It's possible.
He's a medical professional.
I was doing interesting research
Take it out
there.
of the bag and put it back in.
I was doing very interesting research here. I don't know if you're familiar with aerosols.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a problem in gas warfare. Many gases are water soluble, like say chlorine or the sarin, the other, so that you can spray it from a shell or drop it from an airplane. But some very toxic gases are oil soluble, and you can't do that. And the only way to do that is to dissolve them in oil and spray it. And you can develop an aerosol in many, many ways. I was working with first getting toxins into the oil, and then to see how the oil would be absorbed, how big the droplets had to be to get into the lung tissue. And I was using mice for that. And you just can't put a mouse in a chamber with a cloud of aerosolized oil, because it just tuck his nose under the armpit and just breathe his own natural gas mask. So I had to have Lila make gas masks from mice.
Oh my God.
So with her own sewing machine, she concocted these wonderful little gas masks, and I had
Are you
12
kidding
mice.
me?
This is true. I had 12 mice lined up, tied up in a wooden frame, and Lila's gas mask on each one, and with a nozzle, and my aerosol mist going through them. And I did wonderful research with it.
Well, it had good results because when President Eisenhower was ill, he needed some medication that Milt had worked on with this aerosol product, with that oil absorption in lungs. Wasn't that it, Milt, or oil absorption? At any rate, Milt's research went on to save Eisenhower's life. There you go. Ta-da!
That was in the next stage. So I still remember a lot. We called them mouse mitts. And I wish I had still
Too
saved
bad you
them.
didn't have to, Lila. You would have made money.
Who cared? It
Edgewood
was
was
not my major
interesting.
interest.
Well, we had our first goat barbecue. One of the things they tested was ballistics. Ballistics is the study of what happens to a bullet when it hits something. And they would shoot goats, and when they shoot a goat, then we'd have a goat barbecue,
Ooh.
which was very delicious. Don't say, oh, it's a pig barbecue, a lamb barbecue. Goat is a very delicious dish. Half the world eats goat. It's a very... then came the end of the war, and Lala was working as a librarian in the Post, having a wonderful time. I was earning money as a first lieutenant. It was the only time I saved money for the next 10 years. We put money away. We ate in the commissary. The food was so cheap. We paid a quarter for the movies. And then came the end of the Army service, and I got a chance to go to Boston at Harvard, at the School of Public Health. Again, because my research was superior and I got good recommendations. And a man I'll never forget, his name was Fred Stair. he came from a very wealthy Wisconsin milk farm country. His parents had this large farm, and he was well funded. So that's one of the ways you can get up in Harvard. But he was a smart fellow, and I worked in his laboratory, and there I developed 2 medications in 1 year of work. One was this methadone, which is vitamin K1 dissolved in oil, which is what Eisenhower got. Nobody had used that before. They used a water-soluble vitamin K, which was ineffective. When you treat certain heart conditions, you thin the blood with dicumarol. Everybody knows dicumarol, Coumadin. Some of you have even taken it. It prevents coagulation, but sometimes you overdose with Coumadin and you can't stop the bleeding, and you need to neutralize it. And vitamin K was the only substance, but the water-soluble stuff was ineffective. But my vitamin K1 worked, and it's still on the market today. You can still use it. In fact, they still use it.
But the best thing that happened at Harvard was that Carol was born.
What did you make furniture? You made furniture in the army. That's a good story. Yeah.
Carol, wait, I had the other medication, which was
Oh, Milton, I'm trying to get through the...
Lipomol. Look, how many people get 2 medications developed on the market in 1 year?
Well, do you have a patent?
He didn't get exclusive patents.
They didn't get patents then. Now they can get a patent, but then if you dare get a patent, you were thrown off the staff of whatever group you were in. How dare you try to make money out of medicine? That was the attitude. Lila was born in a thunderstorm, a blizzard.
Carol was born.
I still had a car that, and Boston is the worst town in the world there is to drive in. Bar none. Lila goes into labor early in the morning, and the snow is falling down. There's 6 inches of snow on the ground, and I'm zigzagging this car. And we ended up at the Boston Lying-In Hospital. When Carol was born, Lila lived like a queen there for 10 days, wasn't it?
10 days?
Well, that's how it was then.
Really?
Lisa got kicked out after 4 days.
4 days?
Yeah,
4
I
days.
picked out after 2.
Well, she had a C-section.
I think that was bad.
I would come eat lunch, and I bring a sandwich in, and
No, because Mom and Dad went up there and
they would bring a silver-covered tray for Lila.
We can meet sometime for your...
Yeah, we lived in this tiny room, and from one tiny room to another. I don't know if you know what a Murphy bed is.
Yeah, we know what a Murphy bed is.
Yeah, well, we had an apartment with a
friend
Murphy bed.
invented it.
Yeah, Murphy's a lot.
When that bed was down, nothing else moved in the apartment. Lila was ill with her pregnancy. The doctor came to visit her. He had to sidle in sideways around the bed to get around to where she was. And he delivered her, and I had no money to pay, no insurance, so we gave him a gift of 30 fir trees. He wanted trees. We bought
That's a nice
30
gift.
trees for his little estate. He was very, very happy with that. And then came Fordham Hill
and Ellen.
and Ellen. And Lila was born in the middle of a Dominican.
All the girls are moved to Lila.
Lila went to bed with Dominican music, and she woke up with Dominican music, and so now you would get Dominican music. And then after still did research at the Kingsford Hospital, that was a wonderful place. We had a Nobel Prize winner there, the
Person
woman,
in yellow.
what?
Person in yellow.
Yeah, won Nobel Prizes, and I knew them.
No,
They
the
were,
person didn't. He didn't.
but
get that
they
one.
weren't my friends, but we ran into one another and were able to communicate with one another, and we never worked together. And from there, we moved to Newark, where Annie was born, and from Newark we moved to South Orange, where Edie was born, and all of you know the rest of that story.
That's right, we did. What story, Dad?
You forgot Anne.
She said she did. You did. You did. Save that for night.
Here's
How about
my-
after dessert? After
Share
dessert.
the spreadsheet.
With the what?
After dessert.
Where's the map with all
Because
the
we have a presentation for you.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, you didn't finish the appetizers. What are you going to do?
No one can eat dinner until you